The pre-dawn air hung heavy with the weight of history. A lone figure, silhouetted against the burgeoning light, stood before a modest grave. It was August 15th, the 36th anniversary of Thomas Sankara's assassination. President Ibrahim Traoré, his presence a stark contrast to the usual fanfare surrounding such commemorations, had chosen this solemn hour, this private moment, to pay his respects. No cameras flashed, no aides whispered in his ear. Only the quiet rustle of leaves and the distant sounds of the awakening city accompanied his silent vigil. Traoré, a young officer who had risen through the ranks amidst the turbulent political landscape of Burkina Faso, stood before the legacy of a revolutionary leader whose ideals had shaped, and in many ways still shaped, the very fabric of the nation. Sankara, a beacon of Pan-Africanism, a champion of the downtrodden, had been brutally cut down in his prime, his vision of a just and equitable society violently silenced. The echoes of that fateful day of betrayal and bloodshed still resonated through the nation's soul. This visit was not merely a symbolic gesture. It was a deeply personal pilgrimage. Traoré, burdened by the weight of his own leadership, sought solace and perhaps even guidance in the presence of his predecessor. He sought to understand the complexities of Sankara's vision, to grapple with the legacy he had inherited, and to navigate the treacherous path laid before him, a path fraught with the same perils that had ultimately claimed Sankara's life. The silence of the cemetery was broken only by the soft whisper of Traoré's prayer, a silent dialogue with the ghost of the past, a conversation with a revolutionary whose spirit still lingered in the very soil of Burkina Faso. The weight of expectation, the burden of leadership, and the looming shadows of political intrigue pressed upon him. This was not merely a visit to a tomb. It was a descent into the heart of a nation's turbulent past, a journey into the soul of a revolution. And in that quiet solitude, an unexpected encounter awaited him, one that would forever alter the course of his presidency. As President Traoré lingered, a figure emerged from the shadows of a nearby mausoleum. An elderly man, his face etched with the lines of time and hardship, approached cautiously. He wore simple, worn clothing, his demeanor a curious blend of deference and quiet authority. There was an unspoken understanding in his eyes, a knowing glance that transcended the formalities of their disparate positions. This was no ordinary mourner. This was Joseph Urego. At first, Urego's presence seemed accidental, a chance encounter amidst the somber quiet of the cemetery. Yet a subtle shift in the atmosphere suggested otherwise. The air crackled with an unspoken energy, a silent acknowledgement of shared history, a clandestine meeting veiled in the guise of chance. Traoré, ever vigilant, sensed a depth to this man, a hidden strength that resonated with the revolutionary spirit he had come to honor. Urego's words were few, measured, each syllable carrying the weight of years spent in the shadows. He spoke of his past, a carefully constructed narrative that only hinted at his true identity. He spoke of his admiration for Sankara, his unwavering loyalty to a fallen leader. He spoke of a time when he had served the revolutionary, a time shrouded in mystery, a time that had ended abruptly with the coup that had claimed Sankara's life. The details remained elusive, shrouded in a carefully cultivated ambiguity. But beneath the surface of his carefully chosen words, a deeper truth began to emerge. This was no mere admirer. This was an individual intimately connected to Sankara's inner circle. This was a man who had witnessed the revolutionary's triumphs and tribulations firsthand, a keeper of secrets, a custodian of a legacy that had been buried, along with its leader, beneath the sands of time. The encounter, seemingly accidental, was in reality a carefully orchestrated convergence of destinies, a meeting ordained by the unfolding tapestry of Burkina Faso's tumultuous history. The mystery surrounding Urego's identity was a palpable thing, a silent question hanging heavy in the air, promising a revelation that would reshape the very foundations of Traoré's presidency. The weight of this revelation pressed upon Traoré, a silent challenge to unravel the truth, a dangerous game of trust and betrayal. The silence between them stretched, thick with unspoken questions. Then, with a deliberate slowness, Joseph Urrego unveiled his true identity. He was not merely an admirer of Sankara. He was a confidant, a strategist, a shadow advisor who had operated in the deepest recesses of the revolutionaries' inner circle. His role, shrouded in secrecy even then, had been to remain unseen, unheard, a silent architect of Sankara's vision. He spoke of years spent in the shadows, his existence a carefully guarded secret, even from many within Sankara's own government. He explained his reasons for remaining hidden, his voice a low murmur, punctuated by the rustling of leaves in the pre-dawn breeze. The coup, he revealed, had not been a spontaneous act of violence. It had been a meticulously planned operation, orchestrated by forces both internal and external to Burkina Faso. Urrego's continued existence, his silence, had been a crucial part of the preservation of Sankara's legacy and a testament to his unwavering loyalty. His words painted a picture of a clandestine world, of coded messages and secret meetings, of a revolutionary leader constantly maneuvering through a treacherous political landscape. Urrego's narrative was not merely a historical account. It was a chilling testament to the dangers of power, the price of dissent, and the enduring legacy of a man whose ideas still resonated throughout the nation. The details he shared hinted at conspiracies that reached far beyond the borders of Burkina Faso, implicating powerful figures and international players in Sankara's downfall. The revelation hung heavy in the air, a palpable tension that mirrored the dangerous circumstances under which Urrego had lived for decades. His decision to reveal himself to Traoré was not a spontaneous act. It was a calculated risk, a gamble based on an intuitive understanding of the young president's character and his commitment to Sankara's ideals. The weight of his confession was profound, a burden shared between two men united by shared history, yet separated by the vast chasm of time and circumstance. The implications of his revelations were far-reaching, posing a direct threat to the political stability of Burkina Faso and raising fundamental questions about the true nature of Sankara's assassination and the forces that sought to erase his memory. With the dawn painting the sky in hues of orange and gold, Urrego began to unveil Sankara's vision for Burkina Faso. It wasn't merely a political agenda. It was a profound philosophical statement, a radical departure from the neo-colonial structures that had stifled the nation for decades. He spoke of Sankara's unwavering commitment to self-reliance, to the empowerment of the people, to the dismantling of oppressive systems. Images flickered through Traoré's mind. Sankara, charismatic and defiant, addressing massive crowds, his words igniting a flame of hope in the hearts of the downtrodden. He remembered Sankara's relentless pursuit of economic independence, his ambitious land reforms, his unwavering dedication to education and healthcare. These were not mere policies. They were manifestations of a revolutionary spirit, a determined effort to reshape the very soul of the nation. Urrego described the struggles Sankara faced, the relentless opposition from both internal and external forces. He recounted the betrayals, the conspiracies, the constant threat of violence that loomed over the revolutionary leader. These were not mere historical facts. They were vivid reminders of the sacrifices made in the pursuit of a utopian ideal. The flashbacks were sharp and poignant. Sankara planting trees, a symbol of his commitment to environmental sustainability. Sankara vaccinating children, a testament to his belief in the right to health care. Sankara challenging the international monetary system, an act of defiance against neo-colonial exploitation. These were not merely snapshots of a revolutionary's life. They were glimpses into the heart and soul of a man who dared to dream of a better future for his people. Urrego's words painted a picture of a man driven by an unwavering conviction, a man who understood that true revolution extended far beyond political structures and into the very fabric of society, a vision that still resonated deeply decades later. The depth of Sankara's vision, its scope and ambition, was both awe-inspiring and profoundly sobering, a reminder of the immense challenges that lay ahead for Traoré. The sun climbed higher, casting long shadows across the cemetery. Urego shifted his weight, his gaze fixed on Traoré. He spoke of parallels, of the uncanny similarities between Sankara's struggles and the challenges Traoré now faced. The enemies, he warned, were not merely political opponents. They were entrenched forces, both internal and external, who profited from Burkina Faso's instability. He spoke of powerful interests, both within the country and beyond its borders, who saw Traoré's commitment to Sankara's ideals as a threat. These are not abstract entities. They were individuals with names, with faces, with influence. Urego's words were not mere speculation. They were grave warnings based on decades of experience, insights gleaned from a life spent navigating the treacherous currents of Burkina Faso's political landscape. He painted a picture of a conspiracy, a web of deceit and manipulation, stretching back decades, reaching into the highest echelons of power. The assassination of Sankara, he insisted, was not an isolated incident. It was a calculated act, part of a larger strategy to undermine Burkina Faso's progress and return it to the status quo. The same forces, Urego warned, were now arrayed against Traoré. The parallels were chillingly precise. The same opposition from powerful elites, the same pressure from international financial institutions, the same insidious campaign of disinformation aimed at discrediting the government. Traoré listened intently, the weight of Urego's words settling heavily upon him. The implications were far-reaching, threatening not just his presidency, but the very future of the nation he had sworn to protect. The dramatic tension was palpable, a silent acknowledgement of the perilous path that lay ahead. The conversation took on a sense of urgency, a desperate race against time to counter the forces arrayed against them. The weight of history, the legacy of Sankara, and the future of Burkina Faso rested upon Traoré's shoulders, a burden made heavier by Urego's grim predictions. The air grew heavy with the unspoken weight of Urego's next words. He spoke of specific threats, no longer veiled in metaphor or allegory. He named names, detailing the intricate web of political opponents actively working to undermine Traoré's government. These were not fringe elements. They were powerful figures, deeply embedded within the nation's political and economic structures. He described a simmering discontent within the military, a subtle but potentially devastating rift amongst Traoré's own ranks. Whispers of dissent, he revealed, were growing louder, fueled by discontent over policy decisions and fueled by the machinations of those seeking to exploit the situation for their own gain. The potential for a coup, Urego warned, was a very real and imminent threat. Then came the external pressures, the subtle yet relentless influence of foreign powers whose interests clashed with Traoré's vision for Burkina Faso. These weren't overt acts of aggression, but rather insidious campaigns of economic pressure, diplomatic isolation, and covert operations designed to destabilize the government. The consequences of these external forces, if left unchecked, were potentially catastrophic for the nation's sovereignty and economic stability. Urego painted a grim picture of potential outcomes: a civil war, a military coup, or a complete collapse of the government, plunging Burkina Faso into chaos. Each scenario, he emphasized, held the potential to undo decades of progress and throw the nation back into the dark days of instability and foreign interference. The weight of his words was immense, a stark reminder of the fragility of power and the constant vigilance required to maintain stability in a nation struggling to overcome a legacy of political turmoil. The gravity of the situation demanded immediate action, a strategic response to counter the formidable forces arrayed against Traoré's leadership. The urgency was palpable, a silent acknowledgement of the high stakes involved and the perilous path Traoré had chosen to follow. Silence descended between them, broken only by the rustling of leaves in the nearby trees. The weight of their conversation hung heavy in the air, a shared burden of history and responsibility. Urego looked at Traoré, seeing not just a leader, but a man carrying the immense weight of a nation's hopes and fears on his shoulders. He saw the reflection of Sankara in Traoré's eyes, the same unwavering commitment, the same fierce determination, the same deep-seated love for Burkina Faso. He spoke of the loneliness of leadership, the constant pressure, the sacrifices made in the name of duty. The emotional toll, he explained, was immense, a burden that few could truly comprehend. The weight of decisions made, the lives affected, the constant threat of violence and betrayal. These were not mere abstractions. They were realities that both Sankara and Traoré had lived, were living. Traoré, in turn, spoke of his own struggles, the immense pressure he felt to honor Sankara's legacy while navigating the treacherous waters of modern Burkina Faso. He confessed to the sleepless nights, the constant anxieties, the overwhelming responsibility of guiding his nation through turbulent times. The shared burden was a profound bond, forging an unexpected connection between two men separated by time but united by their commitment to the well-being of their nation. Their conversation transcended mere political discourse. It became a testament to the human cost of leadership, a poignant acknowledgement of the sacrifices required to guide a nation towards a better future. Both men had paid a heavy price, and both knew that the path ahead would continue to demand further sacrifices from them. The weight of history, the legacy of Sankara, and the future of Burkina Faso rested upon their shared shoulders, a heavy burden borne with courage and determination. The emotional toll was palpable, a silent understanding between two men united by the relentless demands of leadership. From his pocket, Urego produced a small, worn leather case. He opened it carefully, revealing a simple wristwatch, its face slightly scratched, the leather band worn with age. This, he announced, was Sankara's watch, a personal possession, a silent witness to the revolution and its tumultuous aftermath. The act of handing it over was profound, a silent transfer of legacy and responsibility. It was more than just a timepiece. It was a symbol of Sankara's unwavering dedication, his unwavering commitment to his ideals, his ultimate sacrifice. In passing it to Traoré, Urego entrusted him with the weight of that legacy, the urgency of continuing Sankara's unfinished work. The watch represented a torch passed on, a call to action, a solemn promise to uphold the values for which Sankara had given his life. The watch symbolized the continuity of the struggle, the ongoing fight for Burkina Faso's self-determination and its liberation from the shackles of neocolonialism and corruption. It was a reminder of the sacrifices already made and the sacrifices that still lay ahead. The ticking of its hands served as a constant reminder of the passing of time, the urgency of the mission, and the fleeting nature of opportunity. The weight of the watch in Traoré's hand was more than just physical. It represented the immense responsibility he now carried, the weight of a nation's hopes and aspirations. It was a solemn reminder of the challenges ahead, the threats to overcome, and the vision to uphold. It was a powerful symbol of the shared burden, a tangible link between the past, present, and future of Burkina Faso. The simple act of receiving the watch transformed Traoré, solidifying his resolve and underscoring the urgency of his mission. The legacy of Sankara, once a distant ideal, now resided on his wrist, a constant reminder of the fight ahead. The conversation turned to Sankara himself, a complex figure whose legacy continued to shape Burkina Faso's destiny. Urego painted a balanced picture, acknowledging both Sankara's remarkable achievements and his undeniable flaws. He spoke of Sankara's unwavering commitment to social justice, his relentless pursuit of self-reliance, and his revolutionary efforts to empower the marginalized. He highlighted Sankara's ambitious land reforms, his commitment to education and healthcare, and his bold stance against neocolonialism. These were undeniably positive achievements that had left a lasting mark on the nation. However, Urego also acknowledged the criticisms leveled against Sankara's rule. He admitted that Sankara's authoritarian tendencies, his suppression of dissent, and his sometimes ruthless pursuit of his vision had alienated some segments of the population. His policies, while well-intentioned, had sometimes resulted in unintended consequences, creating economic hardships and social unrest. The picture presented was not one of a flawless hero, but a complex, flawed, yet ultimately dedicated leader whose actions, both positive and negative, had indelibly shaped the nation's history. Urrego emphasized that Sankara's legacy was not simply a matter of black and white. It was a tapestry woven from both triumphs and failures, successes and shortcomings. It was a legacy that demanded careful consideration, a legacy that needed to be understood in its entirety to truly grasp its enduring impact on Burkina Faso. The complexities of Sankara's reign underscored the multifaceted nature of revolution and the inherent challenges of nation-building in a post-colonial context. His story served as a cautionary tale and a source of inspiration, a complex legacy that continued to resonate deeply within the hearts and minds of the Burkinabe people. Traoré sat in silence for a long moment, absorbing the weight of Urrego's words and the significance of the symbolic gesture. The enormity of the situation settled upon him, the burden of leadership, the weight of history, the urgency of the moment. He felt the cold steel of Sankara's watch against his wrist, a tangible reminder of the legacy he now bore. He looked at Urrego, his eyes reflecting a newfound resolve, a steely determination. The warnings, the revelations, the weight of expectation all fueled a fire within him. He would not be deterred. He would not falter. He would face the challenges ahead with courage and unwavering commitment. The threats to his government, the conspiracies swirling around him, these would not break him. Traoré's response was not one of fear or resignation, but of defiant resolve. He would honor Sankara's legacy, not by blindly following his footsteps, but by adapting his vision to the realities of the present. He would navigate the treacherous political landscape, overcoming the obstacles and threats that lay ahead. He would forge his own path, guided by the principles of justice, self-reliance, and unwavering commitment to the well-being of the Burkinabe people. The weight of Sankara's watch felt less like a burden and more like a source of strength, a symbol of the unwavering resolve that burned within him. He would carry this legacy forward, not just as a tribute to the past, but as a beacon guiding him towards a brighter future for his nation. The encounter had transformed him, sharpening his focus and strengthening his resolve to lead Burkina Faso through the storm. He would face the challenges ahead, not with apprehension, but with the unwavering courage of a leader determined to fulfill his destiny. As dawn broke, casting long shadows across the cemetery, a profound silence settled between Traoré and Urrego. The weight of history, the shared burden of responsibility, hung heavy in the air. It wasn't just the weight of Sankara's legacy, but the weight of Burkina Faso's future, the weight of countless lives hanging in the balance. In that shared silence, a bond was forged, a connection deeper than mere political alliance. It was a bond built on mutual understanding, on a shared commitment to the nation, on the recognition of the immense sacrifices required to lead a nation through turbulent times. They were two men bound together by the weight of history, by the urgency of the moment, by their shared love for Burkina Faso. Urrego, a veteran of the revolution, saw in Traoré a reflection of Sankara's unwavering spirit, a determination to fight for the ideals they both held dear. Traoré, in turn, recognized in Urrego a wealth of knowledge and experience, a guiding hand to navigate the treacherous path ahead. The passing of the watch was not just a symbolic gesture. It was a testament to their newfound partnership, a symbol of trust and shared purpose. Their conversation, once punctuated by the tension of revelations and warnings, now flowed with a shared understanding, a quiet acknowledgement of the immense responsibility they both bore. The weight of history, once a crushing burden, now felt like a shared responsibility, a challenge to be faced together, side by side, in the pursuit of a better future for Burkina Faso. The bond forged in the quiet stillness of the early morning was a powerful testament to the enduring spirit of revolution and the unwavering commitment to a nation's destiny. The encounter with Urego marked a turning point in Traoré's leadership. The clandestine meeting was not merely a sharing of information. It was a transfer of power, a symbolic passing of the torch. Traoré, armed with Urego's insights and warnings, began to formulate his strategy. He knew that the threats were multifaceted, encompassing both internal and external forces. His approach would be one of calculated pragmatism, combining decisive action with strategic diplomacy. He would strengthen his alliances, both within the country and internationally, forging partnerships with those who shared his vision for a stable and prosperous Burkina Faso. He recognized the need for internal reforms, addressing the root causes of instability while countering the influence of those who sought to undermine his government. Traoré understood that maintaining stability would require a delicate balance between firmness and conciliation. He would not shy away from confronting those who threatened the nation's security, but he would also reach out to those who were willing to work towards a peaceful resolution. He would strive to create a climate of dialogue and cooperation, fostering national unity in the face of adversity. His leadership would be guided by a clear understanding of the historical context, drawing lessons from both the successes and failures of the past. He would build on Sankara's legacy, but he would also adapt it to the unique challenges of the present. He would chart a new course, one that steered clear of the pitfalls of the past while embracing the ideals of social justice and self-determination. The encounter with Urego had not only revealed the dangers ahead, but had also equipped Traoré with the knowledge and resolve to navigate the treacherous path and lead Burkina Faso towards a brighter future. The echoes of Sankara's past resonated deeply within Traoré's present. The threats he faced, the conspiracies he uncovered, mirrored the challenges Sankara had confronted decades earlier. History, it seemed, had a way of repeating itself, a cyclical pattern of revolution, betrayal, and the enduring struggle for justice and progress. The weight of this historical echo was palpable, a constant reminder of the fragility of progress and the ever-present danger of regression. Traoré's journey was not merely a continuation of Sankara's legacy. It was a reflection of the ongoing struggle for Burkina Faso's soul. The fight for self-determination, for social justice, for economic independence. These were not battles won decisively in the past. They were ongoing struggles, demanding constant vigilance and unwavering commitment. The conspiracies unearthed by Urego were not isolated incidents. They were symptoms of a deeper malaise, a persistent resistance to progress. The parallels between Sankara's assassination and the threats against Traoré were chillingly similar, highlighting the enduring power of entrenched interests and the cyclical nature of political violence. It was a grim reminder that the fight for a just and equitable society was far from over. Traoré's leadership was not just about navigating the present. It was about breaking the cycle of violence and injustice that had plagued Burkina Faso for generations. His success would depend not only on his own courage and resolve, but also on the collective will of the Burkinabe people to build a brighter future, free from the shadows of the past. The echoes of Sankara's past served as both a warning and an inspiration, fueling Traoré's determination to forge a new path for his nation. President Traoré's leadership represents the continuation of Sankara's unfinished revolution. While Sankara's legacy is a complex tapestry woven with both remarkable achievements and undeniable shortcomings, his fundamental commitment to social justice and self-reliance remains a powerful beacon for Burkina Faso. Traoré, inheriting this complex legacy, faces the daunting task of navigating the treacherous path towards a more just and equitable society. The challenges are immense, the threats both internal and external. The fight for true independence, for economic liberation, for a society free from corruption and oppression, is far from over. Traoré's encounter with Urego served as a stark reminder of the enduring obstacles to progress, the deep-seated forces that resist change, and the ever-present threat to those who dare to challenge the status quo. The weight of this unfinished revolution rests heavily on Traoré's shoulders, demanding unwavering courage, strategic foresight, and a profound commitment to the ideals of Sankara's vision. The path ahead is fraught with peril, but the potential rewards are immense. Success will require not only strong leadership, but also the active participation of the Burkinabe people. It will demand a concerted effort to address the root causes of inequality, to foster national unity, and to build a more resilient and self-sufficient nation. The struggle continues. The revolution remains unfinished, but with the weight of history and the unwavering spirit of those who came before him, President Traoré stands ready to confront the challenges and continue the fight for a better Burkina Faso. The future remains uncertain, yet the struggle, the legacy, and the hope endure. The meeting between Traoré and Urego transcended a simple exchange of information. It was a symbolic passing of the torch, a transfer of responsibility for the unfinished revolution. Sankara's legacy, complex and multifaceted, was entrusted to Traoré, a leader who understood the weight of history and the urgency of the task ahead. The watch, a tangible symbol of this transfer, represented more than just a personal artifact. It embodied the enduring spirit of Sankara's vision for Burkina Faso. Urego's revelations illuminated the ongoing struggle for social justice and self-determination, underscoring the cyclical nature of political turmoil and the persistent resistance to progress. Traoré's leadership, therefore, is not simply about navigating the present crisis. It is about breaking free from the cycle of violence and oppression that has plagued Burkina Faso for generations. It is about building upon Sankara's ideals, adapting them to the challenges of the 21st century, and forging a new path towards a more just and equitable future. The encounter in the cemetery served as a powerful testament to the enduring relevance of Sankara's vision, reminding us that the fight for true independence and social justice is a continuous process, requiring unwavering courage, strategic foresight, and the unwavering commitment of those who believe in a better future. The legacy of Sankara, therefore, is not simply a historical relic. It is a living testament to the enduring power of hope and the ongoing struggle for a more just world. The question remains, will Traoré succeed where Sankara ultimately failed? Only time will tell if this new chapter in Burkina Faso's history will finally bring lasting peace and prosperity.